doesn't make sense is that nothing makes sense.
A simple man making his way through the galaxy. Let's start the show.
And welcome to episode 18 of the Geek Conclave Mixtapes. I'm your host, Eddie Fergoso, and I have my two co-hosts with me, Paul and Tommy. What's up, guys?
How's it going?
So, it's been a crazy week and a entertainmently filled weekend as far as like the Snyder Cut came out and then Falcon and Winter Soldier. Just disclaimer, we're only going to talk about the Snyder Cut this episode because I have a lot to say. So, yeah, we'll be talking about Falcon and Winter Soldier, but that'll be on episode 19 with some other stuff like video game stuff and other stuff. but yeah, so the Snyder Cut, quick take, really fast. Like, was it daunting for you guys to sit through the 4 hours? Did you stop it, Tommy?
Took me 3 days to watch it.
3 days to watch it?
But I was working though. Like I would come home. I think I watched like an hour and a half, and then the next morning I think I watched another like half hour, and I came home watched another. I watched a little bit more, fell asleep before it ended, and I got up the next morning and finished it.
Damn, so it gave you Batman vs Superman vibes. You fell asleep.
Yeah, but I don't want to say it was because of that though. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of stuff they could have cut from it, but it was mostly just my work schedule more than anything. Than staying up. I wanted to power through it, but I wasn't able to. I didn't have the time.
That's fair. No, I know me.
I really want to hear your guys' perspective on it. I want to hear your opinion on it.
Well, we'll get there.
Yeah. I can't wait.
And then, well, yeah. So me and Paul did it on Thursday after I got my second dose. Was gonna stream it, so if everyone saw my Twitch for like a day that had like the two videos that I had started that had, it was a total of like 3 minutes of me waiting to stream. Yeah, at the last second, I just didn't feel like doing it too because of the vaccine. So,
and plus a 4-hour stream.
And yeah, it was a 4-hour stream. I mean, I did it yesterday playing a video game, but that was entertaining. Like, not saying I didn't. The movie's not entertaining. It's just that was content you could watch. It literally would just been my face going, "What the fuck?" Like, and you already got like 2 hours of that before. Yeah. So, yeah, I guess with that we'll just start breaking it down. But I would like to try to make this a weekly thing, but if we don't, no big deal. But it would be talking about like collectibles and stuff. So if you at home were wondering, oh, I would like to buy some Zack Snyder stuff, you can. It is out there. There is Zack Snyder cut merchandise. The ones I want to talk about is t-shirts from Foot Action. So Kevin Smith plugged it the day of the Snyder Cut and was already wearing like the clothes. So if you guys remember when we did the DC Fandom, I put a link to t-shirts that were also for Zack Snyder's Foundation to prevent suicide. It's suicide awareness. The same stuff happened with these shirts. That's why I posted it. So I'm going to show them now. So
They do look good. I will say I like the Wonder Woman one, obviously.
Mhm.
The Flash one is cool. I actually have a print from Rob Zilla. The LeBron James print that I have is made by that guy.
Oh, okay.
And,
Yeah, you showed me that.
and which other one is cool? Yeah, I think those are the two that I would probably get.
The Cyborg one is cool. I just I don't know. Like the mother box is kind of distracting for me. Like if it was just him by himself, I think it'd be cool. But I don't know. I just don't. I'm not a fan of him holding the mother box. But he is still like it's still a sick picture. I wouldn't rock it with the mother box on it.
But it's for a good cause, so it's a win-win.
Yeah. And then the other thing that merchandise-wise, and I also want to bring it up because it's kind of, I guess, controversial in terms of like that these already existed. So, last episode, Tommy showed Egg Attacks. So this is made by the same company. This is Beast Kingdom, but these are called Deluxe Action because they're 8-inch figures. It's the Justice League right now. If you go to beastkingdom.com, it's 20% off DC stuff. So they're on sale, but they only have the red and blue Superman, Batman, and then Wonder Woman. The other ones you'd have to get through like Entertainment Earth or Big Bad Toy Store. There is a black Superman that is for the Zack Snyder cut that is getting re-released. And Entertainment Earth has it, but it's pre-order sold out. But I guess they're gonna try to like restock eventually. But the reason I brought those up is because the pictures that I'm showing, you'll notice that it says 2018 on it. So these figures were already out in 2018, and they already knew there was a black Superman. But when the movie came out, there was no black Superman. So, black suit Superman, not black Superman. So, I just think it's funny because I guess apparently the toys knew what was going on, and the studio meddled. And then we got what is now known as the Whedon cut, the theatrical run, which is shit. Utter shit. So, yeah, just wanted to bring that up because these, like, obviously these were meant to be originally launched with the Snyder version, but obviously, you know, that didn't happen. So, but if you do want to get these, I mean, they're cool. I can't go down this road because it's bad enough, like, from what you guys can see in the camera. There's a whole other side of my room that is a lot, and I have too much shit. And it's still growing because those Egg Attacks that Tommy showed, those two are mine. I'm going to pick up from him, so. The collection is growing.
We have to meet up. I gotta get you those Egg Attacks.
Yeah.
I want to see how you display them. That's why.
Yeah. I got a shelf idea. So yeah. That's the product line. So just to show like that. I don't know if it's gonna get more popular because from internet reaction, I've seen kind of mixed things over the course of just these couple days. We're recording on Sunday, so the full weekend would technically be tomorrow. But as of what I've seen now from everybody, because there's still some people that are watching it now, and it's just because it's 4 hours. Like, it's like, do I really want to sit down for 4 hours? Like, from a work schedule, that's half your work shift. It's daunting, but it's got I didn't check today. I should have right now. But it was 8.8 on IMDb on Thursday, and it stayed like that on Friday. And then Rotten Tomatoes, it had it 88 when I looked. I don't know what it is now. If one of you guys want to check.
88 from the critics or 88 from?
Oh, I go by the audience.
Oh, okay.
I didn't look at the critic score, but
IMDb has it at 8.4.
It dropped. Yeah, I figured it would start to drop. What about good old Rotten Tomatoes?
On it right now. They have a 74%.
Ooh.
That's about right.
But for critics, what is critic score?
Oops. Didn't mean to do that. So their tomato meter on Rotten Tomatoes is a 74%. Audience score is at 96.
Oh, wow. Oh, I guess that went up. It was 88 when I looked at it.
And this is out of 25,000 plus ratings on audience score.
Is that a high number of people give like for the audience score? Like as far as like the number of people that are giving it, rating it, like 90, was it 26,000 or 25,000? That's a lot of people.
I mean, right off the bat, I'll give you the fresh take that it's way better than the theatrical cut. So before I cut to the score out of 10 that I would give it, I'll give that to you at the end of this episode. The Joss Whedon theatrical cut, I'd give a 5 out of 10. It just goes straight action to action. There's no time to really let anything soak in. After seeing the Snyder cut, like, you can see what was like cut up and jumbled and just added. And ironically, the first scene that I hated with Batman was literally a Joss Whedon thing, which makes sense now, I guess, because it was totally wrong with Batman. I mean, Snyder does the same thing later on, but and then it was Cyborg was like just kind of there in the original, and in this one he's like they said, he's kind of the central piece, so it made his character a lot more it was better, but I don't know how to word it, but it was still good in terms of that regard. So yeah, so how do you guys want to break it down? Because you want to go just through parts? You want to just list like what you didn't like? Because now the floor is yours. Like, what you guys want to do in terms of talking about a 4-hour movie? No, I know, but I'm just saying, like, I want you guys to go. I don't want to just be talking the whole time, because I have a lot to say, but I would like you guys to get interrupted.
I don't know. I don't know how you want to. It's a long movie, so I don't know how you guys want to like.
Well, first
dissect
off,
it, you know.
As far as Hype Machine goes, I know we already broke down that we weren't really because of all the controversy, but like, did it live up to whatever hype you had?
I think it exceeded my expectations. I'll say that. It did exceed my expectations in that regard. So, I just thought it was way too long. I don't know how we're gonna break, but the only thing I'll say is I think they dropped the ball when they didn't do individual solo movies first, because you could have did more character development in those. That's why they had to include those, the Cyborg scenes, all the character development they did with Cyborg, Aquaman, and Flash. They could have did those in their own movies and then just focus on story and plot and team up movie. So I felt that was that's what I took away from it the most, was if you did your own individual movies, you don't have to include all that extra fat in there. You know what I mean? It was good. Don't get me wrong, the character development, but that should have been done in a solo movie. That's not a team up movie thing, you know?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Even Guardians of the Galaxy, that they didn't do solo movies for those guys, did a better job of introducing their characters than this movie did in 2 hours or 2.5 hours, however long Guardians was compared to Justice League, you know? So.
Yeah, well, that too, it's one of those things, like, they let each character kind of like shine, and then in the sequel, like, the characters that they kind of didn't tell you much about, like, they expanded on in the second one, so you still kind of get. I mean, I'm assuming, like, at the same time, because this was originally supposed to be a 2-part movie, so I just don't know if it was like just shot in one. Like, I really still don't know if this was actually all of part 1, or if this was supposed to be part 1 and part 2, and he just filmed it together, and they were going to cut it into 2 films, which would be more digestible. But then the way that the story flows, it's like, I guess I don't know where you would have cut it at.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be essentially 4 parts, but there was a total of, I have the number again.
6?
I think it was 6. 6 chapters, right?
Yeah, because it's
6 plus the epilogue.
7 technically with the epilogue. So, because you have 1, Don't Count on It, Batman. 2, The Age of Heroes. 3, Beloved Mother, Beloved Son. 4, Change Machine. 5, All the King's Men. 6, Something Darker. And then the epilogue, A Father Twice Over. So
yeah, I don't know how you want to do it, but like the Martian Manhunter stuff was just stupid. It's just like, it was like Doomsday. It reminded me of Doomsday. Like, just a waste of even throw them in there like that. You know, it just, I don't know. That's why I want to hear what you guys say. I'm talking. I want to hear you guys.
Okay, for sure.
I know you're talking, but I want to know what you thought, how you would rate it, what you liked, what you didn't like. Like I liked. There's a lot of things I liked in it. Like when my initial take of it was, why would they release this Josh Whedon cut when this is a superior product than his version of it? You know, I would take Zack Snyder's version of it over Josh Whedon any day of the week. It was a better product.
Yeah.
Better movie. I forgot my point, but I know I would scale back some things. We can get into that after, but I would like edit some things out. But other than that, it was a overall better product, better scenes, better
payoff.
stylistically. Yeah, better. Like you said, he's a really great cinematographer. So yeah, but
Although,
yeah,
really fast since you brought it up though, I don't watch Supergirl, but my brother did. Like he didn't like watch all of it, but he looked at some stuff, and then when I compared the Martian Manhunter in the Snyder cut to like the DC one, he said the DC one looked better. So I don't know if have you at least seen the DC?
The TV show looks better than the movie.
He said in his eye, he thought that he looked more like the TV show looks more like Martian Manhunter than the Snyder cut.
That's disappointing.
I don't know if you guys have an opinion on that, but I don't know. Paul, you want to say anything?
Like I guess if we're gonna start with like our rants first, I guess.
Yeah.
My whole thing was either with the music selection. Junkie XL did what he could do, and I thought he did fine with it. It's just the Snyder stuff that he selected. Like I get that it's a staple and everything. We get that. Like you're already shooting it visually. We get your point. You don't have to do these like over dramatic song choices for things that are supposed to look. It already looks good.
What was the song for Aquaman? It was like really on the nose.
I don't know.
You know which one I'm talking about though? Like when he's about to get yeah, and I'm like, really? Like, come on, man! Like, we get it.
It's not subtle. It's just
it hits you over the head with it. It's like here.
It's too literal.
Here.
Like yeah. You might as well just say like, this is Aquaman. He is walking. There's a wave and all this stuff. It's just like, come on, we get it. Like,
yeah.
Like the music choice on that, and then the one where what's it called? Aquaman was like walking into the water, and they had like the Icelandic people like chanting, and I don't know if that necessarily. That was just really awkward. Like, I
agree.
Yeah.
He was trying to build up the moment, but that just didn't seem right. And I'm trying to remember, there was like the what's it called? The every single time there was an Amazonian on the screen, this is what they put. They called it ancient lamentation music played in the background. Mm-hmm. It was just annoying. Like I get it. Like I know this is. You don't have to play the song over. We get it. Like when Wonder Woman came out and she had her action scene, that's the great time to put her music. Not when she just like walks on screen, and not when it's just an Amazonian woman. We get it.
No, that's why like when we were watching it together and I texted you, I was like, it reminded me of Michael Bay in Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen. Every time the Transformers came on screen, you heard the Linkin Park part. Where it got to and by the end of the film, I'm like, dude, I like this band, but I'm fucking hating this song. Like, it was playing it so much where you're just like, shut the fuck up now. Like, let me just, yeah.
It didn't happen as much in the later part of the movie, but the first half,
first 3 hours were literally, yeah.
Yeah,
no, I totally agree.
That was like, I guess, my biggest gripe with the movie.
Okay. Well, ironically, I thought you guys were gonna have my pet peeve. I even talked about it separately on an Instagram story. The fucking format, dude. 4:3? Like, what the fuck? Like, we all have widescreen TVs. Like, that triggered me. Like, I get it. He's a storyteller, and he wants to have it, like, okay, I don't have the luxury of a projector, let alone an IMAX projector. So, like, I get you were trying to keep his artistic Vision. So send it to 4:3 in theaters when theaters open again. Like,
Yeah.
it just bothered me. Like, it was just fucking weird. And the rationale behind it, because he wanted to have something unique. It's like fucking, I don't know, it's just very... I don't want to sound like a dick, but sometimes he comes off as pretentious in some of his shit. And I'm just like, dude, like the whole thing, like, with his trailer, like, apparently the Hallelujah song, because he played it again in the end credits. Apparently that's his daughter's, like, favorite song, which, okay, if that's for her, okay. But at the same time, it kind of makes you feel like a pretentious dick, because you keep using that song, and in the context of the song, when, like, you did your trailer, and it was like, oh, the Snyderverse, Hallelujah, I'm like, dude, are you kidding me? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I could be overthinking it, and if I am, I apologize, but yeah. So the format, like, pissed me off. And then some things in the movie, like, granted, I'm technically a film school dropout, so take that credit where it's at. But some stuff, I guess I can be biased, like Marvel and Star Wars for the most part. I'll turn that part of my brain off. I tried doing it with DC. But there's some stuff that it's just so, like, over the head with it that it makes that part of my brain turn back on. I'm like, okay, well, you don't need this. Example, what I mean is, every time, I was on 2 separate occasions when Wonder Woman uses the lasso, she's telling people, I have I get what she calls it, the lasso of Hippopotala.
Lasso of Truth.
Yeah,
Lasso
but,
of Truth about you. Or something
yeah,
like that.
but she always says that, and I'm like, you don't need to say that anymore. Like, you had your own solo movie explaining what that lasso does. Like, you don't need to tell me again. And it's little stuff that he does like that. I'm like, do you really think your audience is that stupid that you need to say that anything? Because as, like, an audience person, I think that's kind of insulting your audience. Like, you're like, oh, okay, well, you obviously can't figure out what this is. So let me remind you again. Every time she uses lasso, people have to say, you know, the truth. Okay, that's stupid. You don't need to say that. So every time stuff like that happened, it took me out. I'm like, dude, really? Like, again, you don't trust your audience. Like, you have to hit them over the... Like, the music, it's like the music thing. Just mine's more literal with him actually doing scene directions. And, like, again, that's where, like I always say, the movie is beautifully shot. Despite the 4:3 format that I don't like. It is a beautifully shot movie. The colors and everything like that, awesome. Just, to a degree, like, yeah, man. Ugh. And then the other thing that I forgot, and then remembered when his name came on screen. Chris Terrio wrote this, and I still say fuck Chris Terrio. I hate that guy. So, I'm sorry. Hate is a strong word. I dislike him very much for killing like 2 of my favorite characters. Well, 2 of my favorite things: Batman and Star Wars. So, end of my rant.
What did he write again? Chris Terrio, that
Episode 9.
I forget. Oh, what else did he? But you said Batman.
Batman
as well?
vs Superman.
Oh. Yeah.
Oh,
He had to do with the abomination of Batman vs Superman.
He needs to go back to school or something. That was bad.
He just needs to actually learn the subject material that he's writing, and not base it off nostalgia. So.
Yeah, I get you. I hear you now.
And for the record, because on this podcast, I never talked about episode 9. I'm not saying that I fucking hated it. It just could have been better if someone else was writing it. So, I own the movie. I have the whole thing. So, in case people are like, oh, he fucking hates that, I don't. I just don't watch it as often as the other ones. I just had to throw that disclaimer out there.
I told you the story with Alex Paul where we're driving to go watch Alita, and I go, how did you like was it The Last Jedi? Was it The Last Jedi?
Oh yeah.
And then he goes, oh, I only seen it 3 times, and I was like, oh, so you liked it? And he goes, well, in the other one 30 times.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, my bad. So you didn't like it. So.
Yeah.
And then him and Eddie started talking and breaking every scene down and talking what they liked, what they didn't like. So it got good. And then talk about it.
Yeah.
But
eventually I'll go down that road for this podcast, but I don't want to open up the cesspool of Star Wars Twitter. So, see, what was I saying? Go ahead, Paul.
What, for what?
I don't know. I want to know what else you guys what you guys thought about it.
My other gripe is slow motion.
Mm-hmm.
this movie would have been about 3.5 hours if it wasn't for slow motion.
So I want to know if him and Michael Bay went to the same, like graduated from the same school of filmmaking, because literally like they, this shit could have been in Transformers the way how it was so much slow motion. All it needed was a 360 pan and it would have been fucking a Michael Bay movie.
Mm-hmm. They could have done without a lot of slow motion scenes. There was one where I think Bruce was using his razor to shave, and they put that in slow motion.
Oh, and little funny tidbit: the man is a fucking billionaire, and he buys a $10 shaver because it's a fucking Gillette. I use that. That shit fucking costs $10. $10.
Then you're like Bruce Wayne.
Well, I always secretly wanted to be, but not the Ben Affleck version.
But yeah, I just thought there was. I get that it's his staple. He uses it a lot in 300 and all that stuff, but I thought that it was like overused too much in this movie.
Well, I don't know what happened. My thing glitched. Hopefully he doesn't do that again. I don't get it. CPU usage was at like 6, maybe. I don't know. Maybe Zack Snyder doesn't like the shit talking and just shut the podcast off remotely. Only because I'm excited, and I know like we don't talk about sports a lot. My Rams just signed Deshaun Jackson 11 minutes ago. Fuck yeah! I'm also buying that jersey with the Stafford jersey.
What?
They got my money. So yeah. Well, what was I saying before it cut off? So oh yeah. So if you guys could ideally, like based off what you have, like keeping the main core of his shit in here, how long would you have made this movie? Like if you were the exec and you had to say, okay, we need to make this an actual sit down movie, would you have just kept it and put it in 2 parts and been like, okay, you're gonna do part 1, part 2, cut it here and here, or would you trim the fat, basically, and kind of make a Whedon version, but just like obviously with his shit still intact?
Who goes next?
It just depends. Like, if you're gonna go with Zack Snyder, they should have went with him. Like, let him do his universe, let him do his vision, and that's the direction you want to go. But this whole like stopping and starting, like cutting them off and having Josh Whedon finish the film, and then bringing them back, like it just confuses everybody now. You know what I mean? So now you have 2 versions of a film, and they just, I don't know what direction they're going in. Are they gonna reboot it? Are they starting over? Like I have no idea. So as far as doing 2 different, if I'm gonna cut it or cut it in 2 parts, it depends what direction you want to go. If me personally, I would have.
So let's say we never got Whedon involved. Would you like? And Zack Snyder obviously presents this to you. Here, I have 4 hours. It's uncuttable.
No.
Okay, well. Would you have done what the studio did? Or would you... Because obviously, like, I mean, the tragedy of his daughter did have a hand in this. And now, more so the Whedon version, you can totally tell that it was, like, kind of rushed at the same time. Because, let's face it, they're trying to compete with Marvel. Like even though that, like, there is no supposedly... animosity between the studios, WB sees what Disney's getting out of these Marvel movies and they want that cut. So they're like, we have superheroes too, guys, like come pay and see our movies. So
yeah.
I feel like were you?
No, go ahead, Paul. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think a certain time length that I would have done is maybe about 3.5 hours. Because if people can watch Avengers, Endgame, and that was about 3 hours, I feel like 3.5 would have been like my breaking point in the theater, not like at home because you could pause it and all that stuff. In a theater, I feel like 3.5 might have been it. But if it was going to be a 4-hour movie, as an executive, it'd be just like too tough to think about because I've heard the whole times where they don't want to do 4-hour movies because there's less showing times and all that
Yeah.
stuff
Yeah.
for theater and stuff. So you kind of lose money off of that. As an executive, you would have to kind of think you could kind of spread it around in 2 parts and almost double your money back instead of just one that might be less because of how many shows
Which
you
is
could
essentially
watch.
when you think about what Marvel did, because the original press conference had Infinity War Part 1 and Part 2. And Part 2 obviously ended up being Endgame, so...
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, it would have been cool to see what's called a Cyborg individual movie before Justice League, because he just became a vital character and a character that they did a good job with showing his development at the very least. But if you think about taking an hour from that Justice League movie, if that was a Cyborg movie, to an hour and a half to give him some stuff, then you still have like 3 hours to play around with for the actual Justice League movie.
Yeah.
So you could have made a lot of money that way, I feel like.
I know that a lot of people, because it's like a double-edged sword. There are people that I think we're in that camp where we like feel that Marvel set a precedent, so just kind of like don't fuck up the formula, like just kind of do it. And I know that some people were like, well, fuck Marvel, DC wants to do their own shit, which I respect, but to a degree, I think everyone should have had a solo movie, and it's just mainly for the development part, because, again, just because I like those movies. This movie had the ability to, and that's why I texted it to you, Paul, like, it could have been their Infinity War. Like, you could have just started the movie, like, in the get-go, like, Steppenwolf shows up, takes the boxes, and then, boom, now they have to, like, come together, and it's focusing on them as a team, and getting the development of them as a team, versus... well, let me spend an hour to develop Cyborg for you. Oh, let me spend an hour to develop Flash for you, and then an hour for Aquaman. And then we kind of already established Wonder Woman and Batman, so even Batman didn't get his own movie, so it's like you kind of just weave it, and it's like, it's still kind of a mess of a movie, but...
I think they cleared it up in terms of...
well, his movie was a lot more coherent and easier to follow than the Joss Whedon version. Because the Josh, as far as like the whole Aquaman thing, Joss Whedon, like literally, like he just showed up, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like he's now all suited up now, and he's got a pitchfork.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess. And this one's like a little more explanation. There was some inconsistencies that did bother me, like with William Dafoe's character, because in Aquaman his hair wasn't down, he had it up, and he seemed to like wear it up all the time. And in this one, it was down. Just little shit like that, I'm like, okay, that's inconsistent. And then Mara's hair wasn't as red. It was, like, more blondish. But that might have just been the color tone he went with.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's just color grading.
So, but yeah, a little shit like that, I'm like, dude, it's a continuity thing with me. But as far as, like, how I would have done it, if his version has to stay this way and you can't touch it, I would have just split it into 2 parts. And I probably would have cut it from, let's see what it would have been. I probably would have shown, since there's 6 parts, I personally said they could have just done it without the epilogue. Even though, I mean, some of it was okay, but I think the Joker scene is kind of overhyped. But I would have done the first 3, so I would have ended it at Beloved Mother, Beloved Son, and then 4, 5, and 6 would have been its own movie. And then if you need the epilogue, you could have it in there as their end credit scene. So. But, so, I'm trying to think here. The main difference in this one that I think they did do better is Superman was still, like, obviously, like, the powerhouse of the team. But everyone here had a more equal, like, in the fight, they all kind of had their parts, so they weren't kind of, like, you could see, oh, okay, this is why they're all needed, because they all kind of had different things to bring. Whereas in the Whedon version, they were all getting their ass kicked until Superman showed up. And it's like, oh, okay, well, it was just Superman, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because at least in this one, like, Wonder Woman did seem to, like, hold her own with stuff, and she kicked a lot more ass in this movie, too. She had a lot more fight scenes, and I thought her stuff was better. What's so funny, Tommy?
Oh, I text my because the sun was in my eyes, so I texted if she could get up, so I didn't have to get up. So she's giving me looks. So. Sorry.
That's all good.
pay for that later. Yeah. Sorry. I wasn't laughing at you, Eddie. I'm
No,
sorry.
no, it's fine. No, it's cool.
I
It's
was
cool.
laughing at your commentary. So.
But did you think Wonder Woman was better in this one?
Yes. She was more savage though. Like she was killing people like crazy. Like I get it, they're bad guys and stuff, but like she
Edgy,
was
man.
flinging people. She was like flinging people against the wall, and then there would be like a blood stain. Like it was crazy.
Batman said "fuck you" in this movie, so you know everything.
Yeah.
Everyone had to be edgy.
So I was watching it. I didn't watch it with my girlfriend, but she came in at the end when I was watching it, where the scene with Batman and Joker and that whole night, like the apocalypse, universe or apocalypse timeline or whatever. And when he cussed at Joker, and she was like, "This movie already sucks. Batman doesn't cuss." And she got up and walked away. And I was like, "Yeah, she's right." Like, but the thing is, okay. Here's what I'm thinking. I didn't really trip on too much. It seems out of character for him because Batman's supposed to be like calm, cool, collected, and like hold his composure and not like show too much emotion. So Joker got him to show emotion like that by speaking that way.
Yeah.
So that's what I was thinking. That's why I'm thinking like that's the whole thing with Zack Snyder. I don't feel like he has. He knows the characters that well to make a movie with him that embodies him, that like how Marvel does. Like it feels like Marvel knows the characters in and out. Like Captain America, I think they have a perfect portrayal of him on film. Same thing with Iron Man and Thor. And I feel Zack Snyder doesn't have that same knowledge of the characters to properly depict that on screen, I guess.
It feels like I mean, it's like a oversimplification, but it feels like Zack Snyder goes to the Wikipedia page and just reads like the stuff on Wikipedia and is like, all right, cool. This is gonna be my movie.
I don't think he even does that. I just think he has this dark vision of the character. Like the scene, I don't want to skip ahead too far, but the scene with Superman and Steppenwolf at the end, like I had just seen Reservoir Dogs, and then I see this, and I'm like, he's acting like a freaking gangster, like what he did to Steppenwolf at the end. That was way overboard, way too extreme. So I was like, and then one.
But you gotta remember, Tommy. He's wearing the black suit.
That's what I guess that's their justification for that, but that was too much. And then Wonder Woman chopping his head off at the end. I just felt like I understand he was like Steppenwolf was antagonizing her throughout the movie and saying that like I killed you, could have been there to save your mom, save your sisters and stuff like that, and that maybe pushed her over the edge. But as superheroes, they're supposed to have like a more of a better moral compass than any like an average person, and you're supposed to hold back, and I just felt like they didn't. So I don't know.
I mean, even superheroes have a breaking point.
I get that. So maybe this is that. So overall, my whole thing is, I would want to see a Zack Snyder universe, but like in the Elseworlds kind of thing, like a different timeline. Like not, I mean, like you know what I mean? Like if you're gonna tell it that way, tell like, oh, this is a darker version of it or whatever, and I don't know, have it run its course, kind of like the Flashpoint Paradox, or they have another DC movie called, I think, Justice League Apocalypse or something like that. I don't know if you've seen those, but that's a good reference for that, I guess. Do you know what I mean? If you want to see, they're both really good movies, animated movies. So, anyways, I still want to hear what you guys say. Your point of view is.
I think they got to play around with the rated R rating, so they definitely got to.
I think they took advantage of it too much. Yeah, I think they went overboard on that actually. I think they were like, oh, we're rated R. We could do whatever we want. Kind of like, I don't know.
To me, I thought it was fine, just because there was motive for her to, of course, cut his head off. Because why not? You have to send a message to Darkseid also. I thought it was fine. Like, they're superheroes. No one's gonna know, right?
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's try that again. So, third time's the charm. Somewhere Zack Snyder's really fucking with this podcast. That's all I have to say. So you were saying that you were okay with her cutting off his head, and the last thing you said was, yeah, just that you're okay with it. So is there anything more you wanted to add to that, or was that kind of all you had to say?
Not that I can remember, but I'm totally fine with it.
Okay.
How about you, Eddie? How do you feel about that? The Superman burning off Steppenwolf's ear and Wonder Woman.
Yeah, I could see how it was much. I mean, at this point, okay, so if we were following the comic book versions of these characters, yes, that is much. But I mean, that was already established that. I mean, it's Man of Steel. Everyone's mad that he snapped Zod's neck, because I remember like people being pissed about that. Like my friend who's like a hardcore, like, he likes Superman the way I like Batman, and he didn't like Man of Steel for the same reason, where he said that that's not Superman. Superman wouldn't do that. So, I guess based off of that movie, what I mean, the reason I brought that up is I've already established that this is the version of those characters. So, in the context of Zack Snyder's universe, it made sense, and I was whatever with it. Like, I didn't, to be honest with you, I really didn't give it a second thought. I was just like, oh, okay, cool. He fucking lasered off his head thing, whatever the hell it was, his horn. So.
I thought you guys would be a little more outraged in this. I really did. I thought you'd be like...
Oh, I mean, I'm outraged about other stuff, but... I mean, well, it's so, like... Yeah, I just, like, I don't know, like, in the context of his universe, I get it, but it wouldn't be, like... We've already established that this isn't the comic book version of Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman. Because Batman kills people, and I can go on a whole nother fucking 10-minute rant about how that's not true. That's not how it's supposed to be. But, I've just come to terms with Zack Snyder's version, I guess. So, sorry to disappoint Tom.
I don't think he... Did he kill anybody in this movie besides the what are those things? Those demon things called again? The Terror Demons or Terror Demons? Yeah. I know he killed a bunch of those. I don't think he killed anybody in this movie though.
He was actually a better character in this movie than he was in the
way better
version.
I thought he was like I don't even know, like...
He had some weird-ass one-liners, though. A couple weird ones. Like, where he was, like, trying too hard to be funny. And I was just like,
Some of the dialogue in this movie wasn't great, but I did overall like Batman. Like, he wasn't, like, a crutch for them.
The good thing that Snyder did do this movie was able to let each hero shine, for the most part. I don't really feel that anyone overshadowed anybody in screen, like, in terms of, like, a part in this movie. Granted, it was 4 hours, so you had time to spread that shit out, but I don't feel that, like, anybody overtook anybody. I don't know if you guys feel the same, but I don't get, like, any superhero overshining the other people. Like in the theatrical one, clearly Superman, it should have just been Superman, because he, like, literally
did everything
and then when this one, it was like I said, they all felt like they were like a team, and it did feel like you could see why they were all needed to be together.
Really? When Superman showed up, he just kind of took that dude down by himself. Like, it was like done.
Well, yes, but I mean, like, it wasn't like they were still kind of holding their own. Like, they weren't getting so much the shit beat out of them like in the first one, where it was literally like he was kicking them around like fucking ragdolls.
Yeah,
and because that was all reshoots.
The cool team up part I thought I liked better than that was when they're fighting against the what are they called again?
Parademons.
Parademons. When they broke through the barrier, and like Batman was going around and taking out a bunch of them, and he was about to die, and like they all came and helped him, kind of thing. That was cool. Like, I thought I really liked that scene. The Wonder Woman stuff. That Wonder Woman, that scene was pretty awesome. And then Wonder Woman, I could tell you, all the action sequences throughout the movie were really well done. Specifically the Wonder Woman, Cyborg too, but I like Wonder Woman.
I feel like they were the most pushed aside characters in the Whedon version. Clearly, Cyborg also become more apparent with like what's going on Twitter and stuff like that. But same thing, like Wonder Woman kind of was like thrown to the side in his version too. And because clearly in this version, like, Wonder Woman and Cyborg is like what he wanted to build the movie around.
Yeah,
I think it worked. Like, one of the scenes that I do like, and I guess some people don't like it because they say it's kind of preachy, but I thought it was like true to her character, and I thought the second one would have gone more in that route. Was when she saves everybody from the bank, and then like they slow down with the little girl, and the little girl says, "Can I be like you?" and she says, "Someday." I thought that was pretty cool. I was like, "Oh, that's cool. Like that's what Wonder Woman's supposed to do. She's supposed to inspire people."
Yeah.
And they even bring that out again. It's like him hitting it on the nose, like saying like you bring out the best in people. Like that's what she's supposed to do. So, no. Trying to see think what I can talk about differently. So from the gist of it, like the stopping that we've had to do because my computer keeps crashing. Just for the record, people, I did have fun watching this. I know everyone thinks that I'm just like shitting on it. It is an enjoyable film. You just have to know what you're getting into. So like to a casual person, like I won't show this to my mother. Like this is not something that my mom or even my dad would want to just sit down and watch. Like if you've watched the previous stuff, this is kind of just depending on what Warner Brothers actually wants to do with this going forward. I could see this totally being a PR move to restore the Snyderverse and then letting him do something.
He's kind of already done that because of the ending that he created, though.
Yeah. So the thing is, so that whole epilogue scene, I've just come established that was just like a dream sequence, and that's not gonna happen. Because that was kind of like, who saw it? When it was it Cyborg? Cyborg saw it, right? Like when it was the actual future where like Superman had killed Batman and he was holding his head. It was Cyborg, right?
Yeah. That was dope though.
That reminded me of Injustice. So I want to see that film. Like I want to see where Superman is the villain. I think that would actually be a really good dynamic. Like I would pay to see that movie. But what was I saying? Damn it, I lost my train of thought. Totally had a brain fart. Fuck. What was I
think you were talking about how you wouldn't show this movie to...
Oh, yeah. Thank you. So, yeah, I wouldn't show this to, like, the casual person. Like, going forward, depending on what they do with this, I guess I would show, like, right now in continuity's sake, depending on what they say, I would show my parents every other movie. So I'd show them the shitty Justice League to say, hey, like, going forward, you need to know this movie. The Zack Snyder thing, I think, would just confuse them because it's so long. That's the thing. Like, it is much better than the theatrical version. It just takes so long to get to everything that it's kind of like... And I guess that's kind of why... So I guess it's a good thing I did watch the first one, because I think had I not watched the first one and just watched this, I would have been like, dude, this is fucking too long. And so because I had seen the other one, like I kind of knew what it was up against, and I was like, oh, okay, well that scene makes more sense now. Or, oh, this is way better than that version. So that's kind of like, I guess, what helped me get through it, was because I was kind of comparing it as I was watching it. And in comparison, this does kick the other one's ass. Like, it is a better, but it's just too long. That's what, like, kind of makes it just fucking bad. So I guess now in terms of the plot itself, I mean, it's okay. I think they established that Steppenwolf just wants redemption, and he just wants to be on Darkseid's favor, which is why he was like doing everything he can to make him happy. So that came across pretty good. I mean, there's just some dialogue choices I would have changed. The length, the slow motion. And fuck it, we'll get to it. The Joker scene. So, that whole epilogue, to be honest with you, I think could have actually not been in the movie at all. Like, it really doesn't take anything. Like, you literally could, like, him having the nightmare is a read. Like, he did it in Batman vs. Superman, so you don't need to fucking do it again. And at the same time, like, when you think about it, like, because the movie, Martian Manhunter shows up to tell him, hey, I'm here, and I'm going to be around. And he just flies away. It's like, okay, cool, you could have done that without having the epilogue. So the epilogue was just, I think, merely there just to, like, so Snyder could basically show you, like, look, I can do a Joker and Batman scene, too. That's how I feel. I don't know if you guys feel the same, but I just really feel like the epilogue didn't need to be in this movie. Being that it's already 4 hours long.
Yeah, it just felt like just like you said a dream sequence. Like you said, it didn't need to be. There's a lot of stuff that could have been cut from this movie though.
Yeah.
So
I just the only reason I brought that up too is because like I guess a lot of the clickbaity sites are saying that not even clickbaity sites. I think IGN posted that it's like being compared to as like the best Batman and Joker scene, but on screen, and I fucking totally disagree with that. So
yeah, not at all.
I would say the Harley Quinn. Have you guys seen the Harley Quinn show? Ah, shit. Have you seen the Harley Quinn show?
No.
There's a episode where
Harley Quinn show, the cartoon?
Yeah. So there's because I was looking at it and I haven't seen all of it, but I do want to watch it now for this fucking scene. So there's a scene where I guess Joker unmasks Batman and finds that he's Bruce Wayne, and he gets mad because he invested in an electric car and there was no electric car. So he basically is yelling at Batman saying, "I invested money in an electric car. Where's my electric car, Bruce?" It's funny. And I'm like, dude, that scene alone was better than this, and that was more character based. So, in terms of like the scene itself, it looked cool, but that's where it stopped. Like the whole part when Batman says he's gonna fucking kill Joker, like, no, that's you've ruined their relationship. The whole point of the relationship is Joker pushes Batman to the point where he wants him to break, but Batman never breaks, which is why Joker keeps doing this. It's a yin and yang situation. So as soon as Batman gives in, Joker's won. And that's my gripe with the whole Zack Snyder version of Batman is Joker has basically won in their whole mind thing because Batman's already killing people. Batman got pushed to the edge and Joker won. So, I mean, I give him it was a really good back and forth between the two characters, but that's about it. But it wasn't, to me, that wasn't Batman and Joker. That was just two guys arguing, pushing each other's buttons. You want to say anything on it?
I just feel like Zack Snyder knows what he's doing by making this epilogue. It's kind of just like that extra push for Warner Brothers to either sign him for another one, because that part was shot after they they brought him back to do
that was a reshoot.
So I'm pretty sure he knows that this is gonna make the fans want another Zack Snyder movie. So I think it's all on Zack Snyder on that part of it. I didn't necessarily think that it was needed for the movie, but it's still an interesting take to see this particular nightmare happen. So.
Quick question: What do you do, Paul? Do you continue with the Snyder universe? Do you want to see a sequel to this, or do you want to see the universe continue? Same question to you, Eddie, but I want to hear Paul, and then get to you.
For me, I would like to see another one, just to see what he can do with hopefully original content. I would say, but yeah, I'm trying to think of the. The only thing that they have to really fix now is the characterizations of the other movies, because the Wonder Woman from Zack Snyder's does not fit the same Wonder Woman that we saw in 1984.
Yeah,
those are two different characters now. The characterization of of the other ones, it doesn't match up. So they're gonna have to do something where it still flows
I feel Aquaman, as far as the movie, benefited from this version because it added more to what was going on in his movie.
Oh, for sure.
So, as the other way around, where the Aquaman movie benefits this, it doesn't. But because the Wonder Woman 84, the only thing that I guess you can kind of bring up if you're going to try to keep in that continuity is how she talks about how she secluded herself from the world with Morning Steve, but that's about kind of all. The whole point of 84 was that she was supposed to learn to let that go, and then she kind of said she relapsed again. So
yeah, but at the end of it, yeah, she's learns to live without him. So yeah, it just needs to be, if just as long as they can fix the universe, then yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing another one.
So, no surprise, I really don't care if Zack Snyder makes another movie. Like, I'll give you this: if you want to find a, fucking even this would bother me, but if you want, just for continuity's sake, if you want a Feige role and you want to give it to him, I'd be content with it, just because, okay, now you have a vision. I necessarily don't care for it, but you could sway me, because, like I said, this was enjoyable, like, even though it was 4 hours, and it was, like, okay. There were scenes that I did like out of it, so he did do some stuff. I guess what Paul said, it does need to be, the characters need to be more all together, so that it doesn't feel like a separate, I guess. So you can't kind of tell, okay, well, this is obviously a different person. So, like, going back to Marvel, just because it's the easy comparison, Iron Man 1 and 2 were shot by Jon Favreau, and it kind of flowed. Iron Man 3, you could tell it's shot by somebody else just because of the way it was shot. But then if you go back in other movies, like, for the most part, even though, like, Guardians is directed by James Gunn, and then, like, the Russos did their films, like, you put them all together, the characters still act the same in someone else's movie, so that's why you can tell it's like a connected universe. And you can be like, it's a different director, but then if you show it to somebody who's never seen these before and told them, like, it's different directors, they may or may not be able to see that. They're like, oh, okay, well, they all kind of feel the same. In DC's universe, you can tell it's someone different each time, just because the characters act differently. And I think that's a hiccup they need to fix. And as far as, like, Zack Snyder stuff, like, I don't know if him doing it again, I guess I would give him the benefit of the doubt and see it again, but at the same time, like, I kind of really don't. If it's going to be more like this, if it's more like his Nightmare thing, I probably could care less for it. Because if he's going to keep hit you over the head with shit, then I don't want to do that. Like, I think you need to respect your audience a little more and be like, not spoon feed them everything, because then it's just annoying. And no, I like the music cues and all that stuff gets old really fast. I'll let him shoot the damn thing, but I'd have someone else direct it and someone else write better dialogue.
But moving forward, like, it was cool. Like I said, I enjoyed, for the most part, I enjoyed the movie. Like, I talked a lot of crap about it. I thought there was a lot of fat that needed to be cut, but overall, I enjoyed it. I would want to see the universe continue and see what direction he would go in. You know what I mean? But I don't know what they're doing. Like, they have Matt Reeves' Batman coming out, I think, next year. They have James Gunn's Suicide Squad coming out. Like, what do you do? Like, they're trying to reboot Superman now. So there's a lot.
Well, the Superman thing could be one of its own thing too. Like, the Superman could end up being like Matt Reeves' Batman and the Joker movie. It could end up being its own thing. So, or you could end up bringing him, if it's going to be Earth 2 Superman, that could end up meeting with these if they want to do that. So, like, I think as far as DC knowing what they're going to do, probably won't know anything until Flash.
Yeah.
'Cause at the same time, Flash is a way to, it's using another superhero franchise. Like, I think Fox almost had the chance to reboot everything when they did Days of Future Past, and then they just fucked it up with Apocalypse. But, like, that was like a soft reboot to a degree, and it was like, I was cool with it. I was like, oh, this is like, that's dope. Like, you got rid of the stuff that kind of fucked it up, and now you're able to go move forward. And then they went in a completely shittier direction. But with Flashpoint, you can kind of do that. You can kind of reset shit that you don't like, or that's like biggest gripes, and start fresh moving forward. And be like, yeah, this stuff still happened, but Flashpoint corrects it, and now we go forward. Like, you could do that, and you can still keep it in the Snyderverse if you want to do that. Like, I'm cool with them going forward doing that, but I just don't think I would let Zack Snyder direct it again. Like, I would let him be an executive producer and kind of put input that way, but I don't think I would let him write a movie again. Or, like, I wouldn't let him direct another Justice League again.
Yeah, he has a really dark vision of the characters. And
Well,
I know you guys
and
said,
he's just his stuff is so long. Like I've noticed that's the thing with him is like he just seems like I get like yeah he's an artist and it's artist subjective, and he has people that love his stuff, but at the same time it's like I think he's too cocky in himself, and it's like okay dude, like I get it, your vision's cool, but you want to tell this big long story and it's catering more to a minority, and I need you to cater to like as far as the studio they're like okay we're trying to talk to all people, not just your universe people. And I just think that he's just so like realistically this movie did not need to be 4 hours. Even if if this was the first time you're going to introduce anything, there's a lot of cutting you could do, there's a lot of tightening you could have done in these scenes. Like he just overuses so much stuff, like the whole slow motion thing. There was a couple scenes that I'm like, okay, if this would have been the first time I seen it, this would be cool. But then towards the end when you're like, oh, this is supposed to be an emotional like send off, it doesn't get that same weight because you showed me this same effect 4 other fucking times, so it loses its value. That's why like he overdoes things, and it's like he doesn't know like when to cut back, and that's his issue. That's why this movie is 4 hours. Like it's like okay dude, we get it, like fucking make me want shit. Like the way you're doing it, it's like you're I'm at a dinner buffet and you're fucking throwing all the plates at me, and it's like dude, I'd like to like choose what I want, but you're just like here, eat all this shit. It's like dude, this is fucking, I'm not gonna like this.
yeah.
But yeah. So in all though, we did I guess more like enjoy it, right? Even though it doesn't sound like it.
I know we're talking crap about it, but yeah, overall I liked it. I did enjoy it.
Okay, so your ratings, what would you guys give it out of 10?
Paul?
Me first. I'm gonna give this a solid 8, but because of the 4 hour length, I'm putting it at 7.5 for me. Okay. There's one thing I also wanted to say about this particular movie. If we're talking about Batman, if I'm not mistaken, a couple podcasts ago when we were doing the Batman stuff, I ranked this movie as the middle of my order. Yeah. So I'd like to think that I was kind of spot on with my order on that list. So it was better than Justice League, and I put that over there.
That's true.
And I thought Batman and all the characters were going to have better characterizations. So I like to give myself a pat on the back.
That's a good one, Paul. Tommy, what's your score for this guy?
I'm more leaning towards 7.5 as well. I thought it was way too long. I thought there's a lot of stuff they could have cut. I feel it was a mistake to make one big long movie instead of individual movies to develop the characters. I felt if they would have did the solo movies, you could have did way more character development and then bring them all together in a Justice League type movie. You know what I mean? And I thought using Darkseid so early, like you don't like it would have been the equivalent of putting like Thanos as the main villain in Avengers 1. Like they jumped the gun too soon. Yeah, they just. I know, and I know he wasn't in it per se. Like I know he wasn't the main bad guy who was Steppenwolf, but he was in it a lot. Like he was ready to come in, step on Earth after that boom tomb would opened up, or the boxes, the portal, whatever it was. So I'm thinking, I don't want to be too critical. I'm thinking like I'm gonna say 7 though. But I did like it. Like I said, I did like the action sequences. I did like the version of Batman in this one compared to Joss Whedon's cut. I was glad they cut that. Or that you could tell that Joss Whedon put that scene in with Batman and Superman where he told him, "Do you bleed?" and he kind of threw him, and then he said something like something's bleeding or whatever. They tried to be too funny. It wasn't funny. That's not Batman. So I'm glad that got cut. I'm glad they cut that stupid scene with Superman with the stupid mustache thing at the beginning of it, and the Batman with the parademon and all that.
Yeah, which now in context is like, why was it there?
Yeah, like overall, like I said though, my overall take of it is, why would you put that out? Why would you put Joss Whedon's cut out there when you had this right there? You know, just if you have issue with the rated R, take away the rated R. Don't put those blood scenes in. Don't put the beheading. Like, you don't have to do all that. You know. I don't know if that's another issue. That's why he got pulled off the project. I don't know. But I don't know.
Well, as for me, I'd give it a 7 out of 10 as well. In terms of like superhero movies, it was watchable. The characters were likable. Cyborg's character actually was really enjoyable. I liked how like you saw his humanity keep intact, and that was like what was like his driving force to want to do anything, was maintain what he thought little humanity he had left. The reason I ranked it a 7 though is the length is too long. Him overdoing the slow motion and the music and the Snyderness of his stuff. It's just too much. And then yeah, I mean, I'd also have to do with the hype train. Like, this was from just a general, it was overhyped of fucking 4 years of them releasing it. Like, cool, you got your movie, props to you guys, but like I'm scared of the repercussions this is gonna have going forward for every type of fandom going forward, because it's already kind of started. I mean, I know it's a small thing, but like the whole thing with Sonic the Hedgehog didn't help either. So I just know that now people are gonna be like, if I harass the studio enough, I'll get what the fuck I want. So that's the kind of thing I'm fearing going forward from all this. But yeah, it was a 7 out of 10. If this came out in Blu-ray, I would politely miss it. I wouldn't buy it. If they did change it to a 16:9, maybe. But say that again, Paul.
Yeah. Oh, I just said if this was on Black Friday, I'll buy it.
Yeah, I'll take that back. I would spend $8 on this if it came the prices of Joker. I know I didn't buy Joker when it came out, but that's only because of the pandemic. I think next year, if it goes back to the same price, I'd probably buy it again. But yeah. So yeah, 7 out of 10. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that because I at the same time don't want to keep saying the same shit over and over again. People are like, we get it, you fucking hated the movie.
No, I was thinking
Is it our favorite part?
Oh yeah. I was gonna say real quick. I own Justice League on 4K.
My condolences.
I don't know. I don't remember buying it though. I don't know if I was a gift or I don't know how I acquired that movie, but I have it. I'm thinking it was on sale. I don't know why I would buy it.
I bought it because it was on sale, Black Friday.
You probably told me it was on sale, and you probably got me to buy it too. Like, because I know it wasn't in love. I thought it was entertaining, but I know I wasn't in love with it. I know I hated the Batman sequences in it, but so.
Well, I liked it when it came out. Like, my bar was low from Batman vs Superman, so that's
I guess.
Yeah.
I just remembered what I was gonna say too. So I think, in terms of just the overall thing, I think the studio really shot themselves in the foot with this whole thing. And I think it's because they kind of stroked his ego with Batman vs Superman, where it's like the theatrical version wasn't rated R, it was PG-13 because of that reason, where it's like, we need more people to see this movie. Like, rated R is this is before Deadpool came out. So I feel like they kind of stroked his ego, so that I think they probably didn't, because we're only going to know what's allowed to be said. And I know that, well, I feel too like, yeah, it was tragic with his daughter, and that was kind of used as like a, okay, like, step away type thing. But I feel at the same time, it's like, before this happened, they probably were, okay, why are you shooting this much scene? Oh, I'm just going to do another Blu-ray release like I did with Batman vs Superman. So you guys will get your theatrical cut, and then I'll do my whole unrated version when it comes back out on Blu-ray. And I think that was just getting annoying from the studio, because Suicide Squad kind of did that too. Like, the first Suicide Squad, if you guys remember, there was a unrated version that still had a lot of Joker shit cut from it, but it was like a little more scenes. I think it was like another scene where he just like beat Harley or something. But I just know that, like, I was like, really, is this what's going to be going forward now? From every DC movies, they're going to be a theatrical version, and then there'll be a Blu-ray that's unrated. So maybe that's why they didn't want to keep going down that route with him either, because it's like, okay, well, you let him do it with Batman vs Superman, so I guess it would make sense he'd want to do it with Justice League. It's like Peter Jackson in the Lord of the Rings movies. This is his extended version. So.
Mm-hmm.
Real quick, Steppenwolf. What do you guys feel about like the
He
character?
was a lot better in this version than he was in the other one.
Yeah, his suit being alive was cool because you kind of see it kind of would tell his emotions if he's agitated or calm or whatever. Like,
Well,
Yeah.
he looked like a threat in this movie too. The other one, he
Yeah.
was just like kind of skinny
He had a
and
word-
not very
he had
menacing.
a word. Yeah, he had a word face in the first one.
Yeah, and this one he was like way more
Definitely.
menacing.
In the up close shots of his face, the detail looked really, really good. Like,
Yeah,
comparing it to the first time, it looked pretty bad. It was
Like-
all washed out.
I'm thinking they're using a different CGI company or something. Like, they should have been using the same one. Like, I don't understand
Well,
how.
I think it was Snyder. It was Snyder doing his own thing.
Wouldn't be surprised, but
something's
even
going
the
on there.
small detail when what was it? The part where Darkseid grabs the dirt, the detail and the skin and everything looked really good.
Yeah,
It was a lot
No
better
issue
than
with
Josh
CGI.
Whedon, and it wasn't. I think it's also one of those things where it wasn't rushed. So I don't really know how long Snyder was working on all that other stuff. Keep in mind, majority of this film was shot in 2017. There was only a couple stuff that was shot for reshoots. It was that whole epilogue scene. I think the Martian Manhunter scene at the end. Because that stuff I think was just concept and wasn't actually ever shot.
Mhm.
I think when they said, "Oh, okay, you could reshoot this," because at first I think they backpedaled because I think originally he wasn't allowed to do reshoots. It was just like, okay, well, your stuff's in a can, you can work on it, and we'll put it on HBO Max. And then I think it was like one of those things where he's just like, all right, you're letting me do my vision. I had these scenes I wanted to do. Can I shoot them? And I think they were just like, yeah, sure. It'll get more subscribers. Go ahead.
yeah.
So, yeah.
Overall, the Martian Manhunter scenes. How do you guys feel about those?
I mean, take it or leave it. I mean, it's. I guess it's cool that he's. That I guess that they always try to say he was there the whole time, but at the same time, it's like. I want to say I think someone had said that they had thought that Martian Manhunter was that dude in Superman, and then in Batman vs. I think I remember reading that somewhere, but. I mean, it's whatever. I guess it would have been better to kind of like hint at that better in the other movies.
Yeah. Agreed. I thought it was. I think he's such a good character, like to kind of just shoehorn him in like that. I
think it might have just been that he didn't know what to do with the character because apparently I guess he wanted a Green Lantern too if they had let him because everyone thought it was Ryan Reynolds and some article came out saying no that it's not. He wouldn't have done. He had a concept for Green Lantern, but it wasn't Ryan Reynolds. So.
Yeah. All right, Paul. You wanted to do like top 3 or something like that, or best parts or something?
Just I guess your favorite moment overall in the movie.
Eddie, you want to go? I still got to think.
I mean, the action scenes were cool. I mean, most of the action scenes I liked. I would say the second Wonder Woman fight. So when they get to the base with Steppenwolf, I thought that was cool because that was totally that was gone from the first cut, and I think that was really cool. How like it played her music and it wasn't at that point it wasn't overdone. Where it was just her actual riff from the original Wonder Woman movie, which now that I think about it, I don't think was ever in the second movie. But yeah, that was totally cool, and like she was like really badass in that scene. Like that I think that was like because that's what kind of stood out to me. I'm trying to think what else like kind of stood out to me. That was it. And then I actually did like Flash's scene with the dogs. I thought that was pretty cool. I'm a sucker for animals, so I liked the whole scene where he went back and all the dogs were licking his face and stuff. I thought that was cool.
I was gonna say my favorite scene was probably the Flash at the end where everything goes to shit and he runs back in time pretty much to save everything. It doesn't look like a Snyder type shot, and also the what's it called, the audio, the song that plays when he starts running. I thought that thing was pretty well shot, so I really like that scene the most out of everything.
Yeah. Tommy?
I think my favorite scene I think was the when they're breaking through the barrier, like when they all came together, save Batman and help. Like there was a cool Wonder Woman scene where I think she sliced one of the parademons in half. Like just that whole overall sequence where they're kind of working together. So just the act, like I said, I think you said it, Eddie. The action sequence in general, the Wonder Woman bank scene, the fight with Steppenwolf when he was interrogating all the people that he suspected knew where the box was at. So that fight scene was really cool. Yeah.
I mean, that's just his strong points though. Like he's good at shooting action. Like he knows how to, like, whatever he wrote on the paper. I'm like, I'll give him kudos. Like he's good at choreographing the action and stuff. Just he needs to work better on dialogue and story structure. He just needs to find a way to get to the point of what he wants to do instead of having it drawn out. And then same thing with effects. It's like you overdo them. Like the whole slow motion thing, like literally just, I think if you had have done the slow motion part would have been good at the end where Paul was saying, like if that was the first time seeing it, that would have been holy shit. Like it would have been way more impactful instead of showing it every time he wanted to run.
Yeah, like for the slow motion with the Flash, you're supposed to use it. You don't want to use it for one of the like regular characters.
Yeah.
Like the mascara.
Yeah, Bruce Wayne doesn't need to be shaving in slow motion.
Yeah, it just kind of draws the impact less from the Flash because he uses it because of his speed. You want the speed to be the emphasis. You don't want it to get drawn because of a visual shot, you know?
So.
I think that's where he lacks though is storytelling and just dialogue in general. Like he doesn't know how to. His character development.
I mean, he's got good story beats. I just really think that if you this movie could have probably been, to get it up to be like an 8 or 9. For me, you'd have to trim a lot of fat, and then you would have had to just have solo standalone movies to already have established those characters. Because if like literally they had have at least given Cyborg and Flash like their own movie, or if you wanted to at least introduce this world of Batman without doing Batman, or well, let's say Batman vs Superman was already a thing, but you want to know more about Batman, you could have, because it's in Cyborg's from Gotham, you could have done Batman and Cyborg together and had Batman kind of make him come out in public and then have Cyborg be like, you know, establish Cyborg with Batman, and then you could have a Flash own movie if you want to try to cut down movie times or whatever. But I just feel that like if they had established these characters, it could have been like Infinity War, or even like keeping it in DC, like The Dark Knight, because The Dark Knight doesn't really have character development. It's just off of Batman Begins, but at the same time you can still watch it standalone. So if they could have done something more like that, where it's just like from the movie from their like hits the ground running from the get-go and doesn't like you don't have to worry about, you know, bringing in other shit. You should just go with it. They had the chance to do that and they didn't do it because they didn't want to wait. And I feel like because I know they had a deadline, but I feel like in the beginning, let's say that they never brought Whedon in and they just told Snyder, okay, take as much time as you need. We'll release this when you're ready. That alone would have given it like hype. And I think if they had let's say like, okay, let's say it never came out in 2017 and it came out now, maybe it would have been better accepted for them. I don't know. I just feel like you could tell that the studio just rushed to try to get them to, like, they rushed the movie. And that's what happened.
Yeah, I just feel he doesn't know the characters, and he's kind of just going off of how he feels he wants the characters to be depicted. You know what I mean? Like the whole.
He just wants to be edgy to be edgy.
Yeah, that's
because that whole photo shoot now with the Joker thing. Like, I don't understand what the Crown of Thorns picture was for because it wasn't in the movie.
And I don't get Superman burning the dude's ear off. I know you guys are okay with it, but that bothered me. That was like.
No, I
I could see
understand. That's how I
Homelander-
feel with Batman killing people in Batman vs Superman.
I could
Like,
see
yeah, he
Homelander.
threw the crane at the thug. It was cool, but he literally fucking killed him. Like,
Yeah, I could see Homelander doing that in The Boys, like being that cruel. You know what I mean? That's not Superman. So like you said, Eddie, that's probably what it is. It's just it's Snyder being edgy just to be edgy to get like to draw like to stir up some controversy or something like that.
well, that's
like,
what it felt like. That's what the whole Joker Batman scene felt like. You really didn't need to have Batman say, you know, I'm gonna fucking kill you.
Yeah.
Like, that wasn't needed.
Yeah.
I know some people were like, oh, that's really cool. Like, on the surface, okay, that's cool, but that's not Batman. Like, I don't need to see Batman drop an F-bomb. That was like the Titans TV show. Like, and literally in the trailer, they're like, fuck Batman. Like, oh, okay, cool. Fucking Dick Grayson cusses. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
So
I just feel I just, like, okay, you're saying they wanted to use rated R, which is cool, but like there's certain characters that are meant for rated R. Deadpool, Wolverine, probably Batman in his own solo movie, but with violence, not with like language or anything else. I mean, if you want to do a violent,
well,
Batman,
see,
that'd be
another
cool.
example of them leaning too hard in the rated R was Birds of Prey. Birds of Prey was another one of those movies where it's just what the fuck, where it's like they're hitting you over the head with the cussing and all that stuff, and it's like it's really not needed. Like, I mean, if you want to be rated R for violence, sure, because in the comics that's what it is.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, the profanity to a degree, it's like, all right, man, this is like, what's the point of this? Like, you can get your point across without the profanity. You're just being edgy now, and it's annoying.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll be cool with Zack Snyder doing continue with the universe. Just hire a better director and get some better writers on board. Don't let him do everything. Don't let him direct it. Don't let him write it. He can oversee, do some cinematography, whatever, be a executive producer, but don't let him write it. Kind of come up with a better vision and kind of follow through with it. You know what I mean? But kind of do it like an Elseworlds kind of thing, where maybe introduce Flash, the Flash movie. Do some kind of like Flashpoint paradox where you introduce the multiverse, and this is one part of the multiverse, and then you have your other universe with normal DC characters, the way they're supposed to act, not not burning off people's ears or decapitating dudes that are already dead already, you know. So maybe he wasn't dead already, but still, that was a little bit extreme, especially for kids. I can't we're talking about having my girlfriend's niece come over and watch movies with us. I can't show her this movie. Like, it's way.
But
too
remember,
much.
like, his niece is not the demographic. This demographic was for like,
you said, his vocal minority of fans, because they're not the majority of us that were calling for this movie. You know, even though I liked it, like one of my cousins loved it. Like he really liked the epilogue scene with Joker, and he liked that. He pretty much liked everything about it. I'm not in that camp, so.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like at the end of the day, like, I watched it, I enjoyed it, but at the same time, I could have been doing something else with my 4 hours.
Yeah.
Am I a better person for seeing this movie? No.
Mm-mm.
It didn't change or really impact me that much. So I was like, okay. Well, there's that. It's literally like the whole thing at the end, keeping it in context of the movie. When Martian Manhunter showed up to Batman's like, I'm here, I'm gonna be around. And Bruce Wayne's like, oh, okay. That's literally what this movie was. It's like, here's my 4-hour cut. Okay.
I was thinking, like, where were you at when they needed you though? Like, where, like, you know what I mean? How were you not in that fight to save the planet, save the universe, and you're a superhero with all these powers, and you're not getting involved?
He's the reason Superman did not go crazy. He brought Lois Lane to the site.
Did he bring?
That's the whole conversation. That's the whole reason he did that scene where he pretended to be Martha Kent. And then the next scene, she ended up getting out of bed and decided, today I'm going to go to work. And then the day she decides to go to work, they bring Superman back to life, and she's the one that's able to snap him out of killing Batman.
Yeah. he still should have been at that fight with the Steppenwolf, because literally the planet could have got destroyed if Flash didn't go back in time.
Yeah, well, I mean, in Snyder's version, I mean, it makes Batman vs Superman make sense when he comes back and says Lois Lane is the key. So
Yeah.
I'll give him kudos for keeping continuity in that. Just took 4 hours to get there, but
Yeah.
so yeah. Is there anything else you guys want to say about Justice League, or is it just beating a dead horse now?
Paul took notes. I want to know what Paul's notes say.
I pretty much kind of went through
You went over it already?
I did take notes from the the Justice League when you did the stream.
Mm-hmm.
I put notes on there. Eddie laughed 2.5 times in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
So I will say that it did make you laugh as far as those Joss Whedon jokes.
This movie made me laugh a couple times. I probably got 4 laughs out of this one. 1 for each hour.
I think I
What
mentioned
What parts made you laugh in this movie?
The Flash scene.
With the dogs?
Yeah, that was dope.
Okay.
Say what you will, that's cheesy as shit, but I fucking like animals. That was cool. Actually, it was a lot of the Flash's scene. The scene with him and Aquaman, where he's like A or B, and then Aquaman's wait, let me see A again. Like, that was pretty funny. Let's see. Maybe it's only 2 points that stick out. I know Bruce Wayne said something that I laughed at, but it was like a stupid annoyed laugh, but I laughed. I think the main parts were Flash, but
Makes sense.
I mean, he was like the comedic relief. I actually ended up liking his character a lot more. The only thing I don't like, though, is how they say like he's like a recluse, which is weird because I don't remember reading him. Like, I don't remember him being like that in the comics. So, but I guess my knowledge is also based off of the TV show Flash. But he didn't seem like a socially awkward person. So
I wish I had more knowledge of the comic books in general. Like, I didn't. That wasn't those aren't some of the books that I read. I just have an overall knowledge of them, but I don't really have like that.
I just read
comic book
Batman.
knowledge.
For DC, it was just
Yeah.
Batman.
Yeah. So, but yeah, overall I liked it. Like you said, Paul mentioned the scene where the lady was singing when Aquaman was going back into the ocean. That was unnecessary. Some of the cyborg stuff I thought could have been compressed down. The Flash scene was pretty cool. The one where he saved Iris West. But all that, if you get it all of that, and you with his father, the jailhouse scene, you throw into his own solo movie. I just thought that could have freed up more storytelling. But I don't get the impression that Zack Snyder's the best storyteller. So I don't know how we would have done with that extra time, or what he would have done with it. You know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I would say just going forward, if it lets, like we've been saying before, they just need to get a head person. If they want it to be Zack Snyder, fine. Just get someone else to write the dialogues for the movie. You can get someone else to direct it. But if you want to keep the character, as far as like the core of the characters, I mean, I guess the Flash is okay, Cyborg is okay, Wonder Woman's okay as long as she doesn't decapitate somebody. Superman's okay as long as he doesn't, laser beam somebody into death like a fucking Homelander. And I mean, Batman. I mean, there's the Batman that he's portraying, though, in his defense, I guess, is what he perceives as the Frank Miller one, which is the Batman who's been Batman forever and is like doing one last hurrah. So, and Frank Miller did kind of push that Batman over the edge. So,
yeah.
But, yeah. Anything else you'd like to add, Paul?
Nope, that was about it.
Yeah. At this point, we're just going to be running around circles now, so.
Yeah.
Aside from the two other cuts, I want to say we've talked about a good hour and 20 minutes about this subject, which is what I figured would happen, minus the stopping. So, next episode, we'll talk about other stuff. We'll leave the Snyder Cut out of it going forward. The 4-hour movie will no longer take any more moments of my life. So, yeah, I put the links to that stuff at the bottom of this video and on the podcast website. So, yeah, well, see you guys next time for the next episode, where we'll, talk about other shit. Mainly Falcon and Winter Soldier, unless something else pops up to overtake that, but I don't see that happening between now and Monday or Tuesday, whenever we record. So, with that said, guys, we'll see you next time, and goodbye.
Good one.